Hey, it's me. Well, you told me the guys with the five eyes that you see, and this is my sixth take. Because I guess there were some clipping issues in the video beforehand. So I'm gonna make this as quick as possible. I'm gonna play you a couple clips from the Chicago report about this single mother who has all the excuses in the world for why she can't do better in her life with her kids.
Every day is just about the same thing. Every day I get the same routine.
So for one, let's see where she works. She works at Walgreens. How does she like working at Walgreens? Hmm.
I've been working at Walgreens for about 17 years now. I started off as a cashier, and now I'm a photo specialist there.
But all you ever see her doing in this video is cashiering. I didn't see her specialize not one photo.
I am good. How are you doing today?
Trying to say cool. It's so hot outside.
It is. It's very hot out there. I am waiting.
Then after that, they raised the minimum wage up. It went up to like $13.
She started at like 7 something and will get like 25, 50-cent raises every year.
After being there for over 10 years, I wasn't even at $13. So it was like a slap in all our face to know that like you've been there all these years and you're still making the same thing as people who just getting hired.
It's not a slap in the face. You could have done better for yourself, but you didn't want to. You've been how are you working somewhere for 10 years and you can't like be in a better position? Especially being a black woman. Do you know how much do you know the kind of advantage that you have in this world today? Like dude, like you can get so many jobs as a black woman. It's not even a joke. Even I noticed that when I was younger in Jacksonville, there was a time period a couple years ago. It was hard to get a job. But one thing I noticed is every chick I knew that wanted a job was given a job. And you know what the most egregious example of this is? The freaking shoe stores. Shoe stores. That's why I low key hate a lot of shoe stores. I make sure to never buy shoes from shoe stores for the most part if I can help it. Because like I swear to God, they will always hire women. They stayed hiring girls, but like being a guy, that was like the most impossible job to get no matter what. But for some reason I stayed seeing chicks coming up in these shoe stores. And there were always new chicks coming up in there. And I feel like there's a I hate them places. I think there's a lot of things going on there, but that's a whole nother situation.
It was tough. I barely get by.
Of course you do. Now let's see the kids. Uh-oh, the dog is getting kind of antsy. Is she going? No. Well, hopefully he doesn't scream through the video.
Oh, you want some of what? Oh, we don't need a shopping cart. Mommy's just gonna get a few things. Ooh, grab that one.
I would like to see a change of employment.
I got it.
But what else could I be doing with the education I have?
I need 2 more. There we go.
What kind of excuse is that, though? I mean, that every time I hear that, like, I'd like to make a change in employment, but what can I do without an education? It's just like, as you'll see in this video a couple times, one of her switch as a kid, switch as an iPad. I think both her, the oldest son. Oh yeah, and you don't even see the 4 kid, the oldest one. You know, you got 3 here. The oldest son and the daughter both have iPhones and stuff. And honestly, these days you can go to school online, and these days with these phones and how they've been optimized, you can really. I remember doing my homework. Like, I remember going to Atlanta with my cousin for a concert or something, and I vividly remember being at his cousin's place having homework assignments and finishing them on my phone. I was going to school on my phone, and you got all these phones and gadgets and stuff. Lady, you could have been had a computer. You ain't got a laptop or something. You know, she kind of makes her case worse and worse and worse every time she keeps talking. So let's go by some of these bits too.
You gonna get candy or you want chips?
And it's like, how can you get it?
You gonna get one, Mike?
I get 2.
You can't try to work on yourself and also have a job and be a parent too. So it's like something.
No excuses. The more children you have, the more money you need. You need to work on yourself for your children's sake. That's
I'm a single mother of 4 kids. My son Malcolm is 17 years old.
Now see, that's the key. Also, this dude looks I don't know, Minister Jab, you 17. That's like what, 04? That's back in your prime. I heard. I'm saying you say you was in them streets. Does she look familiar, Minister Jab? But the first oldest kid is 17. Second youngest is the daughter at 12. And then the two little boys should be around 6, and the youngest is 4. So you had the first kid at 17. I mean, not at 17, but when you started working at Walgreens. And by the 5th year, there is no excuse or reason you weren't a manager at that point. But somehow you ended up having another kid. And there's a part 2 to this, which I'd have to assume part 2 will probably talk about the father or fathers. I don't know about, like, as of now, I haven't watched part 2 yet. So I'm going to watch it, but I'd assume, because I mean, but beyond the father dying or being a deadbeat, it's like, I don't know what necessarily happened. But still, you if you're working at the same place struggling, why are you having more kids? Just why? After the first one, man, you should have been Gucci, and you should have just been working on yourself, because that is the time to work on yourself. You had the time to work on yourself. Of course, you can't work on yourself now because you're strung out. But then you had the second kid, and at that point, it's like, okay, pump the brakes, dog. Just pump the brakes. If you're single, stop having sex, man. That's why I had to make that video about sexual addiction in the Black community, because that's a real issue that we don't talk about, the sexual malaise. And I'm going to make more videos on that. A lot of Black people are sex addicts, in my opinion. If you keep having children and you're never improving your situation for the children, you're a sex addict, because you can't stop having sex for your own good and your children's own good. That's how I feel about that.
He'll be a senior this year.
So now they also speak on the mom a little bit. Well, her mom.
My mom and me, we were having issues. It had caused a little strain on our relationship.
Now, you gotta wonder, now why is the mom having strain on the issues with her? Well, in the general sense, the general answer is because her daughter basically is she turned into a bum, essentially. But here's a little info about the mom and the dad mom, whatever. The dad came to the States at 17, met her mom when she was 14, and the dad's like 69, so the mom is like, I don't know, she gotta be anywhere from like, I don't know, 66 to maybe like 63 to like 65, or maybe 66, one of those ages. And so that far long ago, women being married at like 15, 16, that was a common thing. But he's not that much older than her, so he married her. So, and then she had a couple more kids, including her, about 7, 6 in total, at 21. He ended up disabled, so he stayed at home and she worked for the most part. And he did his job as a stay-at-home dad. He took them places and got them checked up, and fed them good, and loved them well and everything like that. But here's a key thing that their mom is going to talk about. For one, their mom talks about how they were homeless at times, and they they had to lie to people about like how many kids she had for the housing. Remember that one Kendrick bar and Fear, where she's like, you better not tell the social workers that your daddy live here. That's what they went through. But of course, this lady, Melissa, right? That's her name, Melissa. She didn't know that, because she had a good mom that had them living, the way a kid should live, which is kind of happy without all these struggles being pushed in her face. My mom did the same thing. I didn't know that she struggled a lot too, but she kept me focused, because that's how you keep a kid focused. You can't. They're too young for that BS to be on their mind all the time, because it will wreck them, But at the same time, here's what her mom did differently than her.
Something my stepbrother did.
So how long were we homeless for?
It was hard. I'm pretty sure hers was even harder. With 6 kids, I couldn't even imagine.
What do you mean you can't imagine? And 2 things. One, how can you not imagine when you got 4 kids and you by yourself? At least she had a husband. 2, her daughter is 12. And you see what I'm saying? And this is how these girls become sexual addicts. You know, with the guys, like the backstrap exposed, super tight clothing, very short shorts. Like, your daughter need to be dressed modestly. And at the same time, I can understand why her daughter would want to have like so much exposed because it's hot and she big as hell. But still, that's no, not my 12-year-old daughter ain't finna have her whole, like, if you think about it, right? If you just cover this up and cut, like, do this for me, cover these. Okay, now listen, pause. This is gonna be weird, but we're doing this for the sake of social understanding and programming. We're doing this for a certain reason, okay? Now that I said that, if you cover the bottom and top part of her outfit, right? It literally looks like it doesn't even look like she has on a shirt. And see, that's why that's an issue. Because you know what's going to happen. Some older dude who's like 20, 19, 18, whatever, like girls are suckers for older guys at every age. Gonna come around and she gonna be looking sloppy, but in this past part right here, well, actually, I'm not gonna show it. You could just watch it yourself. But she looks like she has big upper body proportions. They're gonna look at that stuff and be like, whatever, I don't care how sloppy she is, she gonna be easy. Next thing you know, she losing her virginity at 13, 14, 15, and she the hankering for sex, the succubi comes out into her. That sex demon controls her, and next thing you know, she's ending up a single mother just like her mom. Because of I'm gonna call it for what it is: sexual addiction. Because it feels good, or she feels like this is what she got to do to make guys like her, and she never gets out that malaise, and she ends up having kids of her own. Mess around, have kids, living with the mom with the kids.
So how old were you when you went back to college, Mom?
About 35?
That's what I said, in your 30s?
When you were like 17.
No matter how many years it took her, she went back to school. She got a good job. If she can overcome things, I think I can too.
You think you can? No, you had no choice.
Yeah, we've been through a lot.
I know we have.
It was really, really nice and comforting to be around my family.
Okay, now here's the next part. Well, of course, she has subsidized housing from the government, but here's the nanny.
I have a daycare lady. Her name's Migdalia.
You're moving too slow, little feet.
She's been watching all 4 of my kids since my oldest was 2. He's 17 now.
Okay, so that's another thing. You have had like with a mother, the father is a big reason why she was able to go back to school and stuff, because you got someone at the house to watch and take care of the kids. This woman has had one of her friends be her daycare lady ever since the first child. So that means you've had help with someone watching these kids. Actually, this could be a double play, because think about it. Like let's say you go to work, drop the kids off. You go. This is weird. You go to work, you gotta drop the kids off there for whatever, or you take a double shift or something, and the kids gotta be there. Then you can also, at a certain time, maybe your mom picks up the kid, or daddy, or someone else, and then they go watch him for a couple more hours till you get off and stuff. Like she has the help. When you have help like this, you can make the time to improve yourself, right? But all she got is excuses. Cause let's keep going.
They want this kind.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing, instead of asking for a better position at her job, she applied for this program where the government, the state, will pay will pay her nanny or whatever, like will pay her for taking care of the kids, or most of it, right? So again, it's just like turning to the government instead of doing better for yourself.
You want to be a good boy? Yeah. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye, Maya.
Maya, say bye to mommy.
Bye, baby.
I don't want what I have for myself for my kids.
Oh, you don't? Why'd you keep having them then? Why don't you do something better and then have them where you can be like, oh, you want to do this? That's cool.
I remember my 7-year-old telling me when he gets bigger, he's going to go work at my store. And that's not what I would want for him. And I don't even know if I can call my job a career. I feel like if I had the proper tools or if I had the proper guidance, would I be somewhere else right now? Probably.
Customer service needed in the baby department.
And, dog, hold on a second. These white people ain't shit. They did that on purpose. Did you piece that? Did you peep that? Let me play it again. Let me play it again for you.
Customer service needed in the baby department.
Nah, they did that on purpose. They knew that was funny when they edited this video. Cause, girl, you do need some customer service with your baby department. Someone called the cooch line like, ding, ring, ring. Yes, you have hit Melissa's cooch line. How can we help you? Yeah. I'm Melissa's mom. Can you like just stop operations for at least these next 10 years, please? I think she needs a lot of help. But no, seriously though, like this last part was just it's such a defeatist mindset. And of course you're at the point of defeat talking about like if your mom showed you the way. Okay, bruh, your mom showed you the way. You had no excuses. And you literally just said it. My mom with 6 kids could go back to school and do better. I think I can. It's like, well, why are you talking like a teenager, dog? Like, you think you can? Your mom went back to school and did the dang thing. You could have been doing that. At one point, you only had 1 kid. That's manageable. At one point, you had 2. That's harder. But that's manageable. Manageable. But then you had a 3rd. Now you just then you had a 4th. Barely after you had the 3rd. It's like, why? Yeah, clearly. And think about this: the kid is 4, and you've been on the wait list for the Section 8 or whatever for 2 years. The main reason she got it was because of her mom. But still, 2 years, which means you've been struggling since that baby was a baby. You know what I'm saying? So we can tell you've been struggling your whole life on your own, and it goes back to the sexual addiction to me. You have to be a sex addict if you have sex and keep reproducing children, and you just put them in the worst kind of situation where there's no kind of sense of improvement, you know. And honestly, another thing about her kid wanting to work at her store, you know how that could have been a positive thing, because if you were a manager, if you worked your way up, you know, then that store could have been like, you could have made that store a gateway for your kids, when that could be their first job. That could be an easy job for them to have when they're eligible as teenagers. Work there a couple years, save up some cash, mess around, end up having a car, or if they want to go to school, you know, they can go to school with some money. Or if they want to do something else in life and maybe they gotta travel somewhere, they, you know what I'm saying, that could have been the store that you hooked the whole family up at and stuff, because you in charge of stuff like that, you know. But these people, women and men in these communities, they don't think far ahead, because everything is now. They live for the now. That's why they're stuck in the malaise. The malaise requires you to not think of the future, because the future is not cyclical. But life as it is now is cyclical, because everything happens as is and it will continue to do so. And again, she just comes up with excuses. A lot of excuses a lot of people have in our communities. And it's just sad. It makes you think about the kids too, because what do the kids aspire to? There's nothing you can teach your children. You have no good knowledge. You as a parent, you're doing bad. And I don't want to talk extremely negatively and be like you're a worthless parent, but you make yourself useless. You know, you can't, you're not even around to really raise your kids, because I skipped it for time's sake, but she also said that you know, her babysitter is, they call her the surrogate mother, and she's like, you know, I had the kids and I give them all to her. And that's exactly the issue that we have in our black communities, is that there are no maternal bonds. Literally, like, these kids get raised by everybody but their mother. And what happens is, when when these boys and girls don't have that maternal bonds, when they deal with each other, there is no bond for them. They don't understand compassion like that. They don't really understand unrequited love like that, you know. So when a guy grows up not having a bond with his mother, he's just gonna smash on these chicks, not really having a bond with these girls. And when a girl grows up not having a bond with her mother, she's going to do the same thing with the guys. You know, because it's like they just don't care about each other, and that's the big thing in the community. The men and women don't like each other like that. They love to fuck each other, but they don't love to love each other. They just like to have sex with each other, you know. But you know, when it comes to the raising of the children, that onus is going to have to fall on the mothers for the most part. I know men have something to do with it, but the men are getting raised by the women. So, and they're getting raised by the women so often that at this point too, like, we kind of have to put an asterisk for the guys, because at some point it's just like, you basically understand, like, they grow up in these horrible situations, and their mom isn't really there and everything like that. It's like, they, so much is put on them mentally, literally from when they leave the womb, that it's like you can't even blame them for the way they act to a certain degree, because they, it's just, psychologically they're fucked. They're just fucked. So when they interact with these women and the women have the kids, you know, we're stuck in a cycle. At this point, a lot of the black men in these bad societies are just sperm donors who do whatever they want, and the women kind of reel them in, and they continue to have kids. So now there's gonna be a part 2 to this. I'm gonna respond to that. I'm gonna look at that, and hopefully we can get the full story behind whatever scenario she has with baby fathers, because this is a really, really terrifying video, because this is what the black community, the majority of the black community, is going to always be. Now, what's going to happen when things are destroyed economically? What's going to happen when the United States fully turns itself into a first third world country, where you got the third world here and the first world there? Are these women just going to continue to have more children? Because you're going to suffer more. It's going to be harder, and you're going to need the government more. This woman literally relies on the government for her child care and for her housing, and who knows how much. But I mean, I'd hope at the very least her kids could do something better. But anyways, that's it for video 1.